There is a fifth dimension.
About the unknown.
Beyond that which is known to man.
The Garden of Thought.
The Babylon Project was our last best hope for peace.
Unexplained.
Mythologies.
This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call
The Garden of Thought with Jeff Lippman.
Eventually, our sun will grow cold and go out.
You're listening to something much bigger, something hidden in plain sight.
It won't just take us. It'll take Marilyn Monroe and Lao Tzu and Einstein. All of us was for nothing unless we go to the stars.
What you're about to learn will completely change the way you experience your mind, your thoughts, and yourself.
Let's make sure that history never forgets the name.
The Garden of Thought.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Gospel of Thomas Sans Thomas, because Thomas ain't working twice in 1 week. We recorded yesterday with O'Shea, and even though this recording probably won't drop for another week or two after that one, I promise you in real time it's back-to-back days, and I wasn't even asking him. And all my other usual suspects, they are busy being successful, because that's the Gospel of Thomas Rub. As you know it, Akira Kwan is now the Generalissimo of Contra Unit, so he's got battle plans to do. Vinny Pacifico today announced he was casting yet another horror movie. So, he's doing great things, that guy. I of course discovered him, as you all well know. PJ's PJ. So who knows where he is. And, April does her live show on Tuesday, so it was not available. Anyway, I'm being rude to my guest, who is AJ Cazana. You know him from The Country Gentleman. You know him from NWA. If you don't, you should. What is going on, Mr. Cazana?
Nothing much, just rocking and rolling here in Tennessee and enjoying we have mild weather today. It's a nice, crisp 64 degrees and sunny and with a slight breeze. Okay. So we're enjoying it here. Yeah, it was like 27 last week and then like 12 the week before. We got some snow and ice and all got locked in and shut in all our apartments and houses, and the world was shut down for a while, and now everything seems like it's becoming a little lively. I think I saw a groundhog outside today.
Very nice. It stayed out. So that's good. It
stayed out. It didn't go back for the 6 weeks of winter. No, I think it's time for spring.
So you're a Tennessee guy, but you are all decked out in New Mexico stuff. Explain.
Well, born and raised in East Tennessee, this whole East Tennessee boy got the opportunity to go out to Albuquerque for the first time. Not my first time in New Mexico, which was a shock to me when I said it in a promo out there. And then my brother looked at me and said, "We just wrestled in Clovis like 3 months ago." I'm like, I thought that was Texas. I thought it was thinking Air Force Base, like right across the border is the whole thing. But I figured I'd represent NWA New Mexico, the newest territory in the National Wrestling Alliance. And not only did they give me a t-shirt, but they were nice enough to give me a nice tag belt.
Wow.
For my troubles of travel. Basically they just gave it to me. It took a couple of these, maybe one of these, but me and my brother came home with the Duke City Championship tag team titles.
Who'd you beat up to get them?
A tag team called Pretty City Express. Devin and Klaus are their names. Great looking guys. Incredible athletes. They just couldn't get one over on the Country Gentleman.
No, of course.
When you travel with the NWA president and the territorial president, because it's the same guy, things tend to go your way at territories.
I see. That's right. So yes, if people don't know, his father, Joe Cazana, won a very hard fought election. There was definitely no rigging of said election.
No collusion, no rigging. It was done by the book.
It was definitely by the book. He beat, poor Brian Idol got his, I think, 6 or 4%. I like Brian. Brian's a good guy. I think more people should have voted for him.
Not president leadership, not leadership, but material is all I'm saying. He could be a great guy, but so is my plumber. My plumber doesn't need to be run on the NWA.
That's a fair point. You know what? The funny thing is that it's kind of what Tyra said also about, when he called Aron Idol. So maybe it's something about the Idol name, though Austin Idol probably wouldn't fit with that, but who knows? I mean, he didn't, even identify himself to his own son for a while. So there's
he's his own creature.
Indeed.
I could talk for years on Austin Idol about all the weird stuff I think about him, but yeah, he's his own individual creature in the world that is professional wrestling. It's hilarious.
So is his dad the New Mexico territory boss as well?
Well, so he won the territory election. It was a free and fair and just election.
Mm-hmm.
He won clean, no shenanigans, as we've laid out.
Right.
And then Billy decided he was going to go out of the country. Billy's a world star.
William
He's
Patrick
he's
Corgan, Smashing
Yeah,
Pumpkins.
excuse me, William Patrick Corgan of the Pumpkins. Yeah, the smashing ones. The good-looking Pumpkins, if you will.
Original scarf guy, yeah.
He loves a good scarf.
He
does love a good scarf. And a good coffee from Madame Zuzu's in Chicago, Highland Park. Billy was out of town.
Highland Park is not Chicago. Highland Park's a suburb of Chicago.
It's when I type in Highland Park, it goes under Chicago. I just follow the map.
Fair enough.
I'm not ever going to live up there. It's a little uppity for me.
I'm only doing that for Anthony Missionary Thomas from Wrestling Soup. Again, thank you for helping us out. But he's from Chicago, and like some cities, the very important to make the distinction between the suburbs, as if it's just like, when people say, where are you from? I say Baltimore. I live in the suburbs. When I grew up from New York, I lived in the suburbs, but it's just easier for them. Yeah. Someone wants to know more, then they go, where?
Yeah, Billy left his suburb and went across the world where he didn't have internet or a cell phone or none of that. Nobody could get in touch with him. Huh. So my dad did the only thing he could do.
Right.
Assume leadership position and assume the presidency of the NWA. And so now my dad is the acting president of the National Wrestling Alliance as a whole, not just the territory system, even though that is under his leadership, responsibilities now, as it's going to end or remain that way until somebody beats him in another fair and free election.
Right. So he's governor and president at the same time.
Basically, yeah.
And Billy paid for his irresponsibility of leaving the country and going to Antarctica or parts unknown. Listen, I respect anyone wrestling who goes on a pilgrimage to parts unknown, but you do pay the truth or consequences of someone getting your spot, brother. So
we're just taking care of the company in his absence. That's it. That's all it was. It wasn't malicious. It was just, hey, Billy's out of town. We got to handle business. Somebody's got to make the call. Nobody in there, including the world champion, had the testicular fortitude to make the calls except my father.
So he's actually showing a both leadership and a fiduciary duty to the NWA as a company and its shareholders and investments and its fans. So
he's a company man. He's been a part of the NWA basically since he broke into the business in '86.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in and out of the NWA, been in and out of WCW, which ended up, NWA went to WCW, the whole good thing. And then, so he is an NWA company man, true and true. He's been around the business for what year is it? 2026. So it'd be 40 years exactly for him. And he's been a part of the NWA for damn near 30 of it. So
wow. I was
maybe that's not true,
when
but it's a long
he
time.
broke in. Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't born.
I hope not. Yeah.
No.
I think so. You look great. You look great for 58.
Yeah, thanks. It's all the supplements and the vitamins I take.
Yeah, or 40. Yeah, okay. Right, of course. Vitamins and the prayers, of course, as well. So that's great. Congratulations on those titles. And your tag team partner, you keep it all in the family, is in fact your brother.
He is in fact my baby brother. All 6'2", 250 pounds of him.
I see. Which one of you can get over on the other?
I mean, I would beat him up in a fight if that's what you're asking.
That's exactly what
I talk way better than he does.
Okay.
So if it's an argument, I'm winning. If it's a fight, I'm winning. If it's a contest to see who can eat the most grilled cheeses, he would probably win.
Okay. Well, that's
he's
unimportant.
He can beat me in some things, but just not fighting or talking. Because
what about chicken wings?
I don't think he likes spice, so it just depends on how spicy they are. I reckon I can handle a little bit. I got a little. Dad's half Greek, so we got that Mediterranean in us. Mm-hmm. Not many people know that. They just see me and they think big dumb redneck, but I got a little bit of Mediterranean in me, so I can handle a little bit of spice every once in a while. But I think I'd get him in that too. It's hard letting it's hard letting your little brother win in anything.
Of course.
So if I think I can beat him in anything, I'm going to go until he proves me otherwise, and both of us are going to be miserable at the end.
Okay, fair enough.
You got to keep him humble.
Of course.
The kid broke into the business 3 years ago, and 6 months in, he got his first match with the NWA.
Just like every now and
his head's just it gets bigger and bigger. So you just got to keep him humble every once in a while.
What's the age difference?
9 years.
Okay. So it's significant, but not, generational.
We didn't grow up. We grew up in the same house, very like brief. I mean, for about 7 or 8 years. So basically, we both were. I was an only child. He was born 5 to 8 years, somewhere around there. Later, I move out and go to college, and then he gets to live his second half of his life before he becomes an adult as an only child. So I mean, it was a good crossover, but we didn't grow up together. I watched him grow up.
Yeah, I understand completely. Is that a Penn State hat that you're wearing?
Actually, no, it's a Lakeway Lions hat. I am a high school football coach in my spare time.
Oh, look at you volunteer for the community.
It's not volunteering. It's not volunteering. It's paid, baby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's paid. It's a nice private school. We got an indoor facility. We just hired the best coach in the state of Georgia, who's got about 8 state championships to his name. He's written multiple award-winning books. He's starred in movies. Top guy, Greg Vandegrift. If you don't know him, Google him. You'll figure out. Kurt Signetti. Do you watch football?
It's the Ravens.
So Signetti out of Indiana, the guys that just won the national championship. He's very Signetti-esque.
Gotcha.
Like he's straight to the point, no BS. And the first time we met in person, he called me. When we started talking, he said, I'm Greg Vandegrift. Coached at these schools in Georgia. If you want to know more, just Google me.
Right.
And then with the first meeting we had in person, he said, I said, I win. It's just what I do. Google me. So, Kurt Signetti, Greg Vandegrift, same kind of thing in that, they're super successful. So he sought out the best.
Absolutely.
He needed an offensive line coach. And I'm one of 2 offensive line coaches. I coach it with my best buddy, James. And we
Tony Baselli.
Yeah. We whipped them into shape this year. It's a fairly new program, 6 years old. So I think six, maybe 7 years old. And this year was a struggle, obviously, in the world of NIL, you can go out and legitimately recruit players and pay them to come to your school. And that's something like none of us ever really had the intentions of doing.
Right.
If you come to the school, you get free tuition and food and maybe a place to stay if you're lucky. Because we're not a boarding school yet. But it was a challenge. I think we went 3-8 this year. So not the greatest year in the world, but these kids had been coached to not know football. They've been working off of just wrist guards or wrist play sheets where they could see where they're supposed to go in any particular place. So it's almost like putting the training wheels back on a bike,
right,
and relearning how to ride it properly. And then, this year we'll take them off and we'll see what happens.
That's right.
But,
you got to teach them how to play football on their own before seeing where
we do model our stuff after Penn State. This is a very Penn State-esque hat. It's navy blue, white. The jerseys are very Penn State-esque. We don't do any of the Sandusky stuff. So rest assured, we can't bring that up on podcasts on the internet.
That's very not in vogue. It's I don't know that it ever was, or at least recently, but not since Caligula anyway. So speaking of Caligula, sort of, and that all men think about the Roman Empire every single day, according to certain studies. My understanding is that you are interested in doing a podcast that expands beyond the wrestling universe, possibly with a certain heavyweight champion. Do you want to expand on that at all and talk about some?
Silas and I I lived with Silas for a couple of years after his house burned down, and we've discussed doing podcasts. He's got a lot of opinions. I've got a lot of opinions. We're both essential.
Are we just going to gloss over his house burning down?
Yeah, you didn't know his house burned down? No. He's pretty sure EC3 did it.
That checks out.
He lived out in Maryville with a buddy. He was gone, buddy was gone, got back. The kitchen and living room had been engulfed in flames. And I mean, he literally called me. He's like, my house is on fire. I'm like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, the belts inside, because he was our heavyweight champion at the time, our Joe Cazana Promotions Southeastern NWA JCP heavyweight champion, and the belt was in the house.
Oh.
So that, and amongst a couple other belts, we were tag champions up in Imperial Pro Wrestling in Bristol together. And I think that belt was lost in the fire. Our heavyweight title was lost in the fire. All of his belongings, obviously, but like the center of the house had caught on. And so the firefighters thought they got it handled. They go, they leave, they go to a hotel, whatever, get a call in the middle of the night. The house is back up in flames and it ended up burning the whole house down and everything. Yeah. So And he was feuding with EC3, I think, for the national title at the time. So it's been a couple of years. But we shot the idea around to do a podcast because we just both like talking. We both got a lot more free time now that we're in a better position with professional wrestling in the NWA, that allows us to have a little bit extra free time to kind of polish our interests, if you will. Or I guess I don't know if polish is the right word, but dive into some of those interests and dive into some of those things that we wanted to do. And, explore our interests. Yeah, that's the word. It's not polish. What am I, stupid? But don't answer that.
No, let the audience decide.
But yeah, so we talked about it, and I know we've talked about NWA had one for a while, and they ceased to do that. I know Joe Galley does something out with a brother in Texas that's kind of like Into the Fire is what they call it, but it's more of like a get hype for this episode of Power. There's no like actual like Power review.
Are they allowed to use Dawkins Into the Fire or no?
No, I don't think so.
No, that was just a temporary thing.
Yeah. So yeah, we talked about it. I know we like I've told you the more Rogan-esque where it's kind of just us getting on there, and we'll have topics, and of course we'll cover NWA, cover whatever we're feeling on that particular day, and then have a guest on there just to shoot the shit with, and excuse my French, and dive into
shit here. It's fine.
Dive into whatever we feel like diving into. I'm a big conspiracy guy. We talked about that. Silas has his extracurriculars that he likes to do and go out and be a part of. I do as well. So it was more just like, let's just get on here and just talk to these people. Very, very Rogan-esque, but have a little bit of our programming, NWA Power Review, maybe have a you got the Gospel of Thomas here, but there is the Gospel according to Joe Cazana.
Sure.
And we can obviously change it, by the book with Joe Cazana.
We can have more. We can have multiple gospels. I mean, just because there's only 4 in the Bible. First of all, there are 4, but in some of the Bibles, there's as many as like 32 or 33. So
right. So we've talked, and somehow Pollo got me in touch with you, and we've explored the idea, and it's something I'll take to Silas, and I think it'd be a video production. Bring my brother in and help out with all the technological stuff that me and Silas may not understand with the studios. And I've got a whole podcast set up waiting to go. 2 mics, a switchboard, headphones, everything you need. So
how about that clerk that's in that corner store that everyone's always going to there that actually gives out pretty good advice?
Yeah, I don't know his name off the top of my head. That's the problem.
Nobody says his name.
I don't think he's got a name. I think
he does either. Right?
The nameless.
He's like the nameless philosopher.
Is philosopher right though, or is he more of like a wizard, or is he more like a somebody that reads the tarot cards? A Wiccan. He gets to see the tarot. Maybe he's doing tarot card decks in the back for everybody, and he's figuring out everybody's stuff for him. I don't know.
First of all, none of these things are mutually exclusive. So if he could be doing all of those things,
maybe sacrificing chickens and burning hair at the stake. I don't know.
I'm going to just call the Midnight Philosopher for now, but I have a feeling he knows tech stuff. But listen, if you can keep it in the family, I think that's fine. I have so many things. So first of all, so when I do these shows, I'm a dingbat. So I assume that if we have a good show, that like I have a new friend, as opposed to somebody is a good actor because, and they enjoyed their time, but that's it. It's done. So when we did with EC3, like he was going to spend that week, and he's like, I'm in Cleveland. I'm alone. Nobody's here. My parents aren't even here. The weather stinks. I think I'm just going to read the Bible. And I'm like, all right, well, when you get to Genesis 6, I want you to talk to me. He's like, what's there? I go, just look for them to feel them. I don't want to tell you anything else. I want to talk to you. He's like, I like the way you think. We're going to do that. Needless to say, we didn't do that, but I did. Every now and then I would harass him on X. Like he'd post about something else and I'd be like, what about Genesis 6? Because I'm a pain in the neck. I'm also 57 and I don't care. So one time he responded back. He's like, then the Nephilim were about transgression, or it says something like the fallen angels were about transgression, and the Nephilim were about consequences. I'm like, holy shit, he actually did the assignment. And the man is deep. So that's that. The other thing, I'm listening to the Bulwark podcast today, which it doesn't matter if anybody knows what the Bulwark is, but it's a political podcast. It's basically started from conservative, never Trumpers or anti-Trumpers. I don't even. It started with Bill Kristol and his group. For those who follow that sort of. Anyway, somehow the F Ice thing with Brody King and AEW Wrestling made it onto the show, and whoever the guest is, I don't remember her name, but she so lumped all wrestling fans in the same thing that she assumed that like the AEW fans were sort of like the UFC fans, the more libertarian, which there definitely is a libertarian capital, lowercase L streak in wrestling and wrestling fans. But with the AEW fans, I think it maps more truly that they are at the core of progressive fans. They're younger, they're leftists, whatever, and that's no judgment, just as so. I tweeted to Tim Miller. I'm like, you guys had it all wrong. She doesn't understand AEW wrestling at all. Their fan base is progressive. I'm happy to be your expert on wrestling and politics. But she's more closely right about WWE and some others. But, please don't have amateurs on talking about wrestling. Anyway, he may or may not respond. He kind of knows who I am, but probably not. Yeah. Anyway, it was very funny to hear wrestling talk on a podcast about politics. And I mean, he talks about WWE, but he still says WWF and he says kayfabe and talks about the Iron Sheik and whatever. So the references are not unusual, but to be that specific, I'm like, oh my God, my worlds are colliding. So I like that you're going to try to make these worlds collide in your own inimitable ways, which, listen, I've never met Silas. This cyber meth, but I imagine it's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of interesting discussion and stuff like that. As most of the people who listen to the show know, if not all, well, maybe people who are tuning in for you or for NWA who don't, I did a show called Garden of Doom, which about a year ago I changed its name to Garden of Thought for reasons which are unimportant. And in one of those shows, there was the sub show called The Book of Black with PJ Black as the co-host. Some people know him as Justin Gabriel and Mr. Thomas from MLW, and there's some other co-hosts. Point is, it's sort of like a Roganish kind of show a little bit, but there's only me and a guest or guest, but like the same kind of Graham Hancock, Eric Von Daniken, alternate archaeology, alternate history. But I will also get actual historians and archaeologists, and like I've had at least 4 people who present for the great courses. So like I try to be balanced to the extent that there's an audience for that. But there are synergies there. Like I can, help you get with some folk but not that I think that the world champion needs any help with folk or the Duke City tag team champion, or from a family who can run fair and free and non-rigged elections. But just in case, I'm always happy to be there. Cause like I said, I like to think in my head, I've made friends,
Yeah. Yeah, I told him, I was like, I just want to talk to people that are interesting, whether it's, under a topic that we're all interested in, or maybe we want to learn a little bit more about something, we can get a good discussion going and about whatever. Wrestling, politics, conspiracy.
You spoke to April Hunter. She is an independent thinker. She loves conspiracy. She admits it. She is very anti genetic modifications. The pharmaceutical companies, Monsanto, chemtrails.
Oh yeah.
She's sympathetic to some of the RFK things, but not sympathetic to other. I mean, she's just really interesting. And then I think she also happens to be, to the extent that this is realistic, a cyber friend and, theoretically one of my co-hosts. So I'm sure that can happen as well. But and of course she was a Nitro girl. So, there's always that.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Well, it gets even cooler. She played in that football league with Carmen Electra and was a Playboy model. So it's like
hell yeah.
It's like all the coolness boxes get checked. Plus, she likes conspiracies. I mean, anyway, that deserves exploration. But I think that would be a nice synergy as well. But yeah, tell me. I'm making some presumptions and assumptions. I mean, we talked a little bit, but like, is that sort of like the lanes you want to go into, or are you more about politics and policy and you're going to talk about like the war in Myanmar or, Ukraine?
That would be a Silas part. I would just be there to listen and take in as much information as I can.
Well, I'll talk to them about that. I'll talk.
But yeah, no, definitely like, it'd be more, I think, broad strokes on it instead of like, that brother's brain works so fascinatingly. I don't even know if that's a word, but it's so unique in the way that it works. Like I've watched him. I've come home after whatever, and he's sitting in the living room playing a video game based off of the Ming Dynasty in China, while he's got a podcast going over here talking about the E-files or something, and then he's also like reading. And he retains it all so well that he can regurgitate it at any moment and understand. Like he understands it, but he can also regurgitate any of it. I've heard him use it in promos before. Like I've heard him. He called my dad he compared my dad to Hitler, if we're being honest.
Well, that's not nice.
Not at all. But he compared him to, somebody over in the Qing Dynasty in China in the 15th century, blah, blah, blah. He just goes on this. And like, there's a point in promos where he's talking about it. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, you can see the fascination in my face, but two, just like this guy's able to retain this information. If he only put his brain to good use and like, if he focused on some other things, maybe, just maybe, we could get something done. But I think it'd be more of a broad stroke thing. Let's talk politics. Let's talk cultural icons. Let's talk pop culture. I've got
Alien Earth.
Let's talk history. I'm a big conspiracy guy. Inner Earth, space doesn't exist, flat Earth, moon landing was faked, all that good stuff.
Okay.
A couple more that I dive into. We were talking about Mothman living in East Tennessee. I know there's a huge trail down here. The Appalachian Mountains are home to a lot of, Sasquatches and Bigfoots and stuff. Apparently, I've never seen any. I guess I would be considered a skeptic. I want to believe, but I've never seen anything that has proved my beliefs.
You want to.
So I think it'd be a more. I know a guy down. He got it's the Confessionals podcast is what it's called. And of course, it's more like religiously based, but it's a lot of like the supernatural side of religion. So good supernatural, the healing the healing of people, the lepers, the healing of the blind, the raising of the dead, and then it goes into like the evil side of demons, the Nephilim, anything else you can think of, and where these things came from, and what these people believe. It talks about Sasquatch, alien encounters, all this good stuff. And he lives in East Tennessee as well. So we were talking, like I've shot him messages. I'm like, hey, huge fan, love what you do. Would just like to meet you and talk to you and just BS with you and just talk, like have a conversation. But yeah, he lives in East Tennessee, and I get a lot of my stuff from him as far as the Sasquatch locations and everything. And then I go deep dive and I get down that rabbit hole.
I might have to guest bomb on your show. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, hell yeah, it'd be fun.
I mean, I listened to this podcast once. I don't think it's the same one, but it was two Eastern Orthodox priests. I think it's priests. Forgive me if it's not the right.
No, you're right.
And they were in Louisiana, and they were going through the whole thing about how the Old Testament is basically all about failing God and killing giants. I mean, that's disappointing God and killing giants. And I was like, this is fantastic. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but it's fantastic. I understand all the interpretations because I do understand all the interpretations. But like, who would think that a show from two Eastern Orthodox priests would be fun? Well, that was fun for me.
Right. Well, it's I think it kind of just proves, like, if you take away the masks, if you will, or the personas that people wear, like, we're all human beings. We all have probably similar interests, more so than we like to admit.
I mean, unless you're a giant.
Right. But like I know giants. Like right. Silas is 6'6". I know Jack Talos, he's well over 7 feet tall. Yeah. I've met multiple giants.
Right. But Silas, in fact, isn't he the biggest man alive?
He is the biggest man who ever lived, according to him.
Right. Sorry.
But I am bigger than he is.
Nice.
I'm broader, and I outweigh him by about 60 pounds now because he's lost all his weight.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. He's sitting about 230. Oh man. Fire, lots of things. Fire got him the most.
Yeah, I do. Of course, I have visions of it being the Southern Six and one guy from the Mid-Atlantic, me. So, actually, I met Ricky Morton once at StarCast at the second one, the one in Baltimore, because that's where I'm from. Not Kerry Moore, but Ricky Morton was honestly like not only the nicest person in wrestling that I've ever met, but like maybe the nicest person I've ever met.
Ricky's a good one.
And like, it was awkward for a while because he was just hanging around, like sitting there, like shooting the shit with us. And it's just like, what do I say to Ricky Morton now? It's like, he's still here. Does he feel obligated? I'm like, I'm like a 14-year-old boy who the cheerleader's talking to. I'm like going through my mind is like what to say instead of just talking. Thank God I wasn't the only one there. So other people could pick it up. Unfortunately,
if you ever get in that situation again and you don't know what to say, just wait and he'll tell you a good story.
He did.
In fact, he's got him.
He did not let there be much silent time. I have a feeling that it's not the first time he's experienced that, where he filled in the quiet time and let you know that no, he's just there to shoot some shit, that he just wants to chat. I mean, it wasn't the biggest event. I know people don't want to hear that, but I was there the entire day. It really wasn't. So I fully understand where people were looking for things to do. And listen, he wasn't coming to see me. There were other people there that he knew from in the business who were vendors and, artists and things like that. It's just, I was the one that was directly at that vending table that he laid his, rear on. But great guy. So his son's probably pretty cool. And I always like their scenes at the bar where they're sort of fighting, but not exactly fighting.
Yeah.
And I do like a corner store, like convenience store, like, midnight philosopher that I call him. What I'm not sure about, and I'm glad that your dad beat them, not that it was ever a count, but I like the Page girls, but I'm not really sure about that 100 Drake guy. And I'm not really sure that dad should be letting 100 Drake like loiter around so often.
That's above my pay grade, brother.
And below
I know, I watch all that stuff, and I hear the scuttlebutt and the rumors going around the locker room, and you can see how sleazy Hunter actually is.
Yeah,
if you just give it a chance. And we tried. You can be as friendly to your I guess enemies as you want to be. They're never going to listen.
There's actually a team called the Slime Balls, and they look clean.
They compared to Hunter, yeah.
Yeah, in comparison, yeah. That's
they are dirty, stinky, smelly individuals, but
sure,
they live in trash cans, or they live in dumpsters, and they dumpster dive for fun.
Yeah.
So they found tons of treasures on the road. You loop around, they'll dive and they'll find something, they'll take it home and sell it in Slime Ball City or whatever. But we tried to tell the Pages, they just didn't want to listen, and there's no getting through Tommy. He's got a thick head, It just must be an East Tennessee thing, because I want to help them.
I understand.
And they don't want help.
You seem like a guy that wants to help, but yeah, some people need to learn things on their own, and that's just the lesson of it all. Being of people who learn things on their own, Aron Stephens, who I will call my friend, it's probably an exaggeration, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's my damn show. He is building an army of success, or has built.
It's something. Yeah, I don't know what exactly he's trying to build, but he's definitely on the right path. He doesn't like the slime balls, though. I don't know if you paid attention.
Last I saw, he did. I'm a little bit behind. I was away for a week. You might have caught it. I went to Battle Riot, which is in Kissimmee, which is nowhere near where I live, and
right.
I don't travel well. I don't really love it. I come back and I get what I call a travel flu. It's like you have all the symptoms of the flu except a fever. So your bones don't hurt and everything, but everything else sort of feels like shit. And every decade it takes a little bit longer to recover.
You know what would help?
What?
Get in the sauna.
Oh, okay.
Anytime I'm feeling sick, like after traveling or anything like that, I always do the sauna anyway. But I'll go sit in the sauna, especially for like if I'm feeling bad. I try to get an hour. If I need to space it with some breaks in between, I can. But I'm in there for an hour straight if I can. It just sweats all those toxins out, man. Everything bad in your body. I don't know. Knock on wood. I don't think I've had the flu or COVID or a cold or anything in probably 3 or 4 years since I started like religiously doing the sauna. That's like nice. It's a staple in my day. I go before I get in there and stretch 10 minutes before lifting. Afterwards is where I try to sweat out all this stuff again. If I'm feeling like crap, I'll just go in and sit in the sauna and not even worry about it.
So I'm Dose Evil on Twitter. it started with Evil Dos. I was just tormenting Evil Uno, but Senora Dos La Sicaria is, as I told you, she's from Ecuador, and she's also magic. So she makes all sorts of remedies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so there's all sorts of concoctions and potions that she makes, but she's also a big believer in the cold packs, and I hate them, but I think a compromise could be like the sauna that I think, because it's, you know, she's very big on getting rid of the toxins, as well as, you know, sorcery. So
Well, I've got I'm sure you've done it before. I've got a buddy, Gustavo Aguilar, whose mom and dad are from Honduras. So he's a first generation American, but his mom swore by it. And I was sick one time when she came to visit, and he made me go over. They took a big pot of water, put it on the stove, put a little Vicks in it. They got me a towel.
right.
They put I gave Vicks to Gustavo, and he lathered it on my face like he was getting me ready for a boxing or a UFC match.
Right.
Like it's like the freaking petroleum on my face. He's like, just go stand over that for a few minutes. And so I go over there, about 5 minutes goes by. He's like, how do you feel? I'm like, well, yeah, I feel fine. And then, 5 more minutes, and it's like, and next day it was gone. I was like, oh, that's that Hispanic magic that they're pulling out of their butts.
I've done that one with some variations. It's menthol and eucalyptus. It's underneath and also on the chest and neck, but so he just went over, she went under. Maybe it's because my honker is bigger and needs more direct attention.
He just like put it all anywhere that could touch my sinuses. He just, lathered it on.
Yeah, that's good. It's also the medicines are often tequila or like the South American equivalent of tequila based, which is great. You know, I like a hot toddy as well, but I'm not going to turn away sort of a medicated molasses, and honey tequila based tea. I mean, that sounds like a pretty good excuse to have a weird drink.
We just do whiskey, lemon, and honey.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Let them do it.
Yeah, I do for sure. Yeah, there's so many this is great. Home remedies, this could be a topic in and of itself for you all, especially like regional and international remedies, old wives remedies, or whatever the phrase might be, or as we like to call now, holistic, non-allopathic, spiritual medicine. So that all works. That we're gonna get in touch. Actually, I know a few shamans as well, and I think you guys can have a few shamans on there too.
We do.
I got a South American one. I have a North American one. So that'll be all sorts of fun. All right. So I'm looking forward to hearing more about it. I know it's an if, not a when, but that's all cool. And why don't you tell the good folks where they can follow you, and how they can follow and support NWA? Because I am very much in favor of it. This show also takes credit for the Roku deal, because TV deal was insinuated by both Aron and EC3, and they're like, support us. And so of course it happened shortly afterwards. I'm like, oh, that's the Gospel of Thomas Rubb. So
you can find the NWA on all social media at NWA. Simple enough. I think TikTok, it's like NWA on TikTok or on TikTok. You just type NWA, it's the first one that always pops up. But it's
the territories. They have individual media as well, right?
We do, yeah. So NWA JCP is ours. NWA Joe Cazana Promotion Southeast. NWA Crossfire has their own Crossfire Wrestling. And then World League. Yeah, we all have our own Exodus Pro. Everybody's got their own stuff. My personal stuff you can find on everything. I'm AJ Cazana, just like that says. Fairly simple. I was able to get it and nobody else had it. And I was like, well, I'm not going to change it. It used to be like AJ Kaz 1 on Instagram, and then Cazana AJ on Twitter. And I was like, this is stupid. I just turned it all to AJ Cazana. I'm like, nobody's got this name. This is incredible.
Someone talk Evil Dose. That's why I had to be Dose_Evil. I mean,
so you can find me everywhere on AJ Cazana, from Twitch, TikTok, to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, Threads. I've got it all. I hate it all, but I've got it all, and I post it mostly every day. And I post fun things. Like today, I posted from our trip to New Mexico, and got a couple candids of my dad and my brother, being the millennials and that they are on their phones. The joke is that neither one of them are millennials. I'm the millennial in the group, and dad's like, you millennials, you just love your technology, blah, blah, blah. Then he's sitting on his cell phone in his all white suit while I'm trying to move merch. I'm like, bro, I'm like, Dad, you got to get up here and sell something, man. I can't do all the talking myself.
That's right. Absolutely. I'm going to give you a pop quiz before I let you go. And that is, you said you were in New Mexico and you weren't even sure in Clovis. So Clovis is pretty significant in our historical or ahistorical worlds. You know about Clovis, right?
I don't know about Clovis. I only know that there's an Air Force base out there that I wrestled in front of like 1,500 people at.
Okay, so the Clovis culture was said to be one of the first waves of first Americans to come in, and it was named Clovis because they found the artifacts in Clovis, New Mexico. Well, obviously, they didn't start in Clovis, New Mexico, but that was something like 14,000 years ago, something like that. They found arrowheads. Now, there's a whole thing called the Solutrean hypothesis, because there's arrowheads also in Western Europe, Gaul, and Britain. It sort of looked the same, but it's not the same, and most people have rejected it. But it's still fun to think about. But as it turns out, the Clovis people weren't the first people. There were people here before. There's no catchy name, and depending on the geology and the archaeology and what will come to be. I mean, but it's at least 23,000 years ago, but there's sites that, like in South America, which of course would take a long time to get there, where the dating's back to like 35,000 years, but it's like in sort of like a swamp bog, so it just might be that it like sunk.
Sure.
Stuff. So, but yeah. So,
carbon dating's fake, right?
There you go. So now you have a Clovis factoid to go with your Clovis actual story.
But do you believe in carbon dating? Is that kind of how, I'm assuming that's how they tried to age these things.
I do believe in it. It's not the only dating they do. There's other luminescent. I know because carbon only breaks down after 50,000 years or whatever, and and not everything's carbon either. But yeah, no, there's look into it. The Clovis, I think it's pretty settled. That doesn't mean you have to agree with it. You might find some other things to have fun with, but there's also older, and that's the more thing, because everything keeps getting older, and the older you get, the more you can make up fun things that are either fun or dangerous depending on your perspective. But there you go. So look, I'm already semi-useful, so that's good. I bet Silas knows.
He probably does, honestly. Or if he doesn't, I could text him, hey, can you tell me about this? And in 10 minutes, he'd have read 3,000 or 4,000 pages worth or something stupid. I told you, his brain works so weird, man. Everybody should have the opportunity to sit and listen to him talk for about 3 hours. So I figured what better way than doing a podcast?
Absolutely. I mean,
there's no better way to get your voice out there other than putting it on the internet.
Absolutely.
It's open to everybody.
That's right. It's not like you have any other outlets or anything. No, I'm looking forward to meeting him. Like before, I was going to be like a little intimidated, but now because I know that this whole now I'm more curious than anything else.
Oh yeah, he is the biggest man who ever lived. He may be the most interesting man who's ever lived. And that's not to quote Dos Equis, but brother's got tons of knowledge, tons of factoids, random factoids. We landed in New Mexico, and he told me something about Albuquerque. I'm like, when the frick did you learn this? Why do you know this? Oh, well, and tumbleweeds. He told me I found out tumbleweeds aren't native to North America. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
No, they're native to Russia. They came across on the land bridge. They're actually an invasive species.
Oh my goodness.
A plant. Yeah. Mind blowing. I'm like, wait, what? And the promoter, Fred, out in New Mexico, is like, yeah, he said they're an invasive species. I'm like, I just thought it was just freaking like clumps of dust and weeds that just kind of got balled together and just blow in the wind. But
me too.
No, it's a whole thing.
Yeah. Well, you know what? They always looked a little suspicious. I always thought that they were the secret heels in all the movies. All right. Well, look, I'm looking forward to this collaboration and this show for lots of reasons. Looking forward to meeting Silas. Text him about Clovis, see what happens. If it and let me know if it goes even close to what you think. Folks, it's AJ Cazana at AJ Cazana. That is Cazana. It's 1 A, not 2 A's. He's from the Country Gentleman. He's from NWA. He's a champion. He's a
future world champion, future Crockett Cup winner, future everything.
That's right. He's doing a double bicep right now. So
I'm the next president of the NWA.
Why primogenitor, right?
Yeah, it's if when dad decides to step down, he'll pass it down to his oldest son. Isn't that how presidencies work?
Absolutely. That's how I understand it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw Braveheart.
See,
Yeah, exactly.
we don't do that. We don't do prima noctra or nothing. That's a little too far, but
Allegedly.
yeah.
All right, folks. Well, if you still want to follow me, you can find me at dose_evil on the X. In real life, the name is Jeff Lippman, so you can find me on Facebook if you like. Garden of Thought is the family of shows. Also, I do some stuff with Wrestling Soup, including Body Slam Briefs, which is periodic, and it's the intersection of law and wrestling. I also do the LFG review show with the legendary Lufisto. And there's a second feed called Wrestling Soup and Friendo, so please check that out and subscribe to it. There's a whole lot of independent content there as well, and we could use your support and help, and it benefits the Soup guys as well. And I do some other stuff. I do MLW reviews with Marie Shadows on the Square Circle podcast, and NXT PLA reviews with Drew Yari. When I repeat it really does sound like I do too much. And I was recently on the Minority Report. Yeah, for Black History Month, they booked a white guy, so that was. So it's fun. You can find the Minorities Report on YouTube. So, all right, enough from me. Thanks very much to our guests again, everyone.
Appreciate you, Jeff.
Absolutely. And everyone, stay with my friends.